Right, what is going on, everybody? I'm here with my guy Brandon here, and we actually did an 8-week program. We did a quick, like a shred program, and he is finishing up this week. And Brandon and I go way back, and so it was awesome to work with him because he got some pretty awesome results. And I wanted to get him on here and have him talk about what he, saw from the program and ultimately where he's at right now. So let's just get started. So Brandon, why don't you tell like anybody who's watching this, like what your schedule's like, and then what you were doing as far as fitness before we got started on this program.
Sure. So, basically I've worked out since I was probably in my early 20s in the military. Everything I've ever done has been, essentially bodybuilding in nature, lift heavy stuff, right? Lift with your buddies, lift as much as you can, look in the mirror. If you need to add a little bit on the shoulders, you hit the shoulders, 3 times this week, or there was no real science to it. I got big and I was really strong, but there was just no plan ever. So that's about it. I'd run, I'd do cardio. I'd put down the ice cream if I thought I was getting a belly, but other than that, no diet, at all, and definitely no written out schedule of what to do.
Right. Yeah, you were kind of just going off of what you other buddies were doing and what you had learned from the military, and and then when we chatted, we kind of laid out a plan and set it all up, and then you just went for it. So what were some of the strategies that we use in this program that helped you to get to where you're at right now?
So I think the best thing for me was obviously the workouts are brutal. They're phenomenal workouts. Like at first, so we dropped down our calories, right, and made sure we hit the macros with the diet plan, which was phenomenal. In the beginning, because I had no idea what I was doing.
Right.
I'm like, oh my god, I don't know. The menu, like my wife's like, what are we having tonight? Because my wife's on, but she's like, yeah, we could do that, whatever. She's like, what are we eating tonight? I'd tell her, I'd go to the grocery store, grab it, come back, and that was it. It was it's about as simple as it gets. I didn't have to think a lot. Right. So that was really cool. How in the gym at first, I was like, oh, because I busted my butt pretty good prior to this, in the gym, I would leave exhausted. And the first few workouts, I was like, oh, that's not bad. That's nothing. Right. Like I felt great. But when those calories started kicking in, you know what I mean? Like the lower calories and stuff like that. That's when I really noticed, I was like, all right, I need to really tighten up and focus on what I'm doing with the diet. And that was probably the most essential part, was following you on my fitness app and your check-ins, right, and hitting the macros and doing it the right way. We kind of spoke about like the protein bar thing,
Yeah.
You're not going to make it. You're just not going to make it. You got to have a bunch of green beans. You have to have substance. You have to have food.
Right.
Like it just doesn't work like that anymore. So, yeah, I think all of it together, like the MyFitness app, the Guzzo app, like it's phenomenal. It literally took all the brain work. I could just, all right, this is what I'm going to do. Sweet. Right. It was awesome. It's kind of in robot mode, man. It's great.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that, because at the end of the day, you followed it. Like we put it in place, and if we ever had questions or anything, we would just talk about it, and then we go from there. But yeah, man, you killed it. So I'm glad that it worked out well for you. I'm glad you like the apps and the plan. It is a little bit sneaky because some people aren't used to doing those kinds of workouts. But once you get used to it, and then when you see the results, that's when it's like, okay, I'm just going to stick with this. And so what were your results then after these 8 weeks?
So after the 8 weeks, I noticed, and we kind of spoke about this throughout the process, the first 2 weeks, the results were like immediately, like I could see my abs coming in like crazy. I'm like, holy cow. And during those 2 weeks, I was starving. I felt like I was starving. Right. And then I was like, man, I don't know. Like I'm feeling pretty weak or whatever. And we talked. I said, I feel good. I just don't feel. And then the fat literally started to fall off. And I was like, holy cow. So when I first started, I started about 209. And then today I weighed in at 197. So, 12 pounds total, but and you seen the pictures. I mean, I was puffy, but I didn't have a whole bunch of body fat to just throw away.
Right.
So yeah, my waist, I got down. You'd have to tell me the numbers exactly, but I want to say I was at like a 35 ish for waist, and I think I dropped 2 inches off of that down to a 33, which that's like high school waist for me, literally. I'm almost 40 years old. 33 was never like in the books for me, you know?
Right.
So it's pretty cool. My legs actually grew, surprisingly. I thought I would lose a lot on that. Lost a little bit on my arms, probably fat. And I think my chest, I lost a lot of fat on my chest, but I think my size stayed, the actual measurement was real close to where we started, which is phenomenal.
Right.
Absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, man. Well, those are in a short time that all happened, which is awesome. And I think the biggest thing too is that you didn't lose the strength, and that was one thing we talked about too. Is
right,
busted out 225 for like 12 reps after a workout, no less.
Yeah. Yeah, a buddy said, he's like, "Oh, you're getting too skinny. You know, you're going to be weak." I said, "Well, let's test it out. You know, let's see if I still got it." So I went over and one of your workouts. I mean, my legs are pretty shaky by the time I get done, you know, with all the lunges and stuff. And, 2 hours later, some of them, I jumped up there, no problem. I mean, 225 for 12 with my legs in the air, So I don't think I lost a lot of my strength or endurance, to be honest with you. Maybe a power, maybe my 1 rep max might have dropped a little bit, but I don't think I lost too much at all, honestly.
Right. Well, that's awesome, man. I'm excited about all that. And so at the end of the day, we'll finish this up. But what would you tell anybody who was watching this, who was skeptical about joining the program, is thinking about it, but has not done it yet?
I honestly, I would say it like I'm speaking in the mirror, because coming from a guy, I mean, I know the science behind working out. I know all, good amount of stuff. Clearly not as much as you. I mean, whooped my butt for 8 weeks, but I think I would say kind of swallow your pride. You know what I mean? Take the dive, like let somebody else who this is what they do. If I want to learn how to climb a mountain, I'm not going to go to Walmart and ask the greeter how to climb a mountain. I'm going to go ask a mountaineer. I'm going to ask them how to climb a mountain. Yeah. So that was kind of my approach with you. I'm like, all right, I got to swallow my pride here and go to a guy who this is what he does. This is his bread and butter. This is his specialty. And just like I did with you when I called you, I said, hey, man, I want to give it a shot, see what I got, and see what we can knock out in 8 weeks. So, yeah, I would just say, just give it a shot, and you will. I guarantee you'll be on here doing the same thing I'm doing with, your mind blown. Literally, I was like a high school kid, man. I mean, my energy's through the roof. My fat is super low. Back pain is almost non-existent. Remember we talked about all my injuries? Yep. Yeah, you worked around that. Nothing but good things. Nothing but good things to say, man.
Awesome. Well, I'm happy to hear it, man. Well, I appreciate it, Brandon, for coming on here and sharing this with everybody. And anybody watching this, if you guys want information about the program or have questions, comment below or hit one of the links around this video and we'll chat. But appreciate it again, and we're signing off.